What is up, everybody? Welcome
Yeah.
back in Tuck Rule Takes episode 113. We have something we have to say though, Liam, before we get into the episode. So
Yep.
make sure the music's cut, make sure
Mighty
nothing's going
important.
on.
Yep.
Very important. So
Silence.
so I'm Al. I'm here. Liam's obviously here, looking
Yep.
as handsome as ever.
Under the alias Mike Sullivan.
Under the alias Mike Sullivan. Speaking of Mike Sullivan's not here with us tonight. However, he has a good reason.
He's with us in spirit.
He's with us in spirit. But happy birthday, Mike. So happy birthday to the I think some would call him the heart and the soul of this podcast. It is
Definitely the passion.
the
Definitely the
passion.
passion.
The,
Dude
the
never
passion's
comes
there.
here not at 100%.
He's always ready to go. Happy birthday, Mike Sullivan. I believe he's what, 33?
Try 63.
He's
Yeah, please.
the
83.
geriatric of
Yeah,
the
I bet
group.
he is. Yeah. Al's trying to buddy you up, Mike. We don't know exactly how old you are. I know you're around for the JFK assassination. So when you come back on the show next week, please reveal to me and the audience and correct Al how old you actually are.
Yes, please do. Please let us know how old you are. But in all seriousness, happy birthday, Mike. Enjoying time with his family. They're taking him out to dinner, all that good stuff. So we love that. We love that for
Hope
our
his time went on tonight.
oh, he definitely is. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about it.
no
No
doubt.
doubt at all. No doubt. All right. Before we before we get into the actual Patriots talk, Liam, I got a question for you.
Hit me.
So the holiday season is upon us. Christmas is literally next week. So we're recording on December 18th. So 1 week away from Christmas.
Fucking wild.
What is one thing that you absolutely love about Christmas and one thing that you think we need to get rid of at Christmas?
One thing that I absolutely love about Christmas, it would probably be super selfish to say getting gifts, right? So I won't say getting
I mean, you
gifts.
you
I
can. You might sound like a little bit of a
yes,
dink, but
but I am a dink. My real answer would be getting gifts. I like to receive things. I like, getting gifts. It makes me feel good. The whole giving gifts is pretty all right too, but it's really about the getting for me. I like when people give me stuff for free. Um, I would say beyond that, though, if I'm thinking sentimentally from the heart, something that like Christmas just I can't live without. Maybe this is specific to my house. It's the honey roasted ham. I love it. I
ooh,
love it. It's just I cannot think of Christmas without it. Thanksgiving is purely for turkey. We do not have ham in my household. That is a Christmas thing. And when we roll that bitch out, I break out the Mike Myers knife. I end up not even really using it. I just rip the whole ham apart with my teeth and fingernails like a wild animal, but it's still fun to tote around the knife and look like a maniac. But yeah, no, one non-negotiable, one thing that makes Christmas Christmas for me is the honey ham. I gotta have it.
see, the honey ham is really, really good. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about the honey ham, but I'll one up you a little bit. One thing I love, and this isn't the thing that I'm picking, but one thing I love, prime rib. A good prime rib
damn, my
at
family does not eat prime rib. Holy shit, you guys
my
are living
family.
good on the North Shore, huh?
We do live good. Yeah, my mom always makes a prime rib, and I'm just like always like just it's excellently cut, excellently cooked, and it's just great. It's a great tradition at the Nahigian household. So if you're not too full from your ham, come on over after, and we'll
I
treat you to
am
some prime
absolutely
rib.
going to be crashing here if that's the case. That sounds friggin' glorious. I mean, we're Irish, so beyond the ham, it's all potatoes, baked
Exactly.
potato, mashed potato. It's like that scene in Forrest Gump where he's like goes through all the different kinds of shrimps. That's what we do with all the
Yeah.
different kinds of potato dishes and whatnot. But yeah, so I will certainly swing over for some prime rib. That's just so decadent. Like I
It
don't know many
is.
people that I don't know many people that go that big for Christmas, at least not in my circles.
No, very fair. Very, very fair. But the one thing I love, and this is going to sound cheesy, it's going to sound like it's in the
Yeah.
Hallmark movies, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's spending time with family. It
Together.
it is. I never get to see like my little cousins and stuff like that, like extended family, unless it's at Christmas. And
Yeah.
it's just it's really great to see that family that you love. But at the same time, like during the year, you're like, hey, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. But now it's Christmas, we got some time off. Let's catch up. Tell me about how little Johnny's doing. Tell me how
Yeah.
tell me about some good stories going on. But that's just one thing I genuinely love is spending time with family. I really do.
See, I
Um,
think this is perfect because this one of the things I love. This is a sports show. We debate on this show, and here's just another area of debate because the thing that I could leave when it comes to Christmas family. I could totally. I am fine with not seeing. Besides my immediate family, they're
of
fantastic. I have,
course.
I have two great parents. I have a brother who's far cooler than I'll ever be. But beyond that, I can do without. It's like, oh yeah, I get to see my super religious aunt and uncles who are going to tell me I'm a sinner because like I don't go to church every Sunday, and like they're going to preach to me the word of the Lord and all this stuff. It's like great. Like
Oh,
all I want to do is sit here and watch basketball, and I'm going to watch Steph Curry drop 50 points on my favorite team, and everyone's going to shut the fuck up and let me deal with this. And they just want to come in and be like, "Have you thought about your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ recently?" It's like, no, I haven't. I'm 26. I went out last week, had 27 beers, and threw up in a trash can. I'm going to level with you. The Our Lord and Savior hasn't crossed my mind once, so it's I could definitely take or leave. Like you get the cool ones. I'm not saying every single one of them, but I would say the vast majority can stay doing whatever they're doing. I like the quality time with my immediate family, and everyone else can get fucked.
so essentially, what you just talked about is that's your Roman Empire. Essentially, it's the thing you think of
Mm.
once in a while, but you don't think of it like all the time.
Yes, exactly, like, it pops into my mind. I would definitely say the Roman Empire is more often on my mind. That's just yeah, who does
Have you heard that like trend
Yeah.
that the
Oh, I
Roman
thought you
Empire
were
trend?
saying that. I figured we had talked about it already. I thought that's why you were mentioning. Yeah, no, me and
Yeah.
my buddy, he's a big time Dago, like right off the boat from Italy. Him and his family all speak Italian to each other. So whenever I'm with him, we talk about the Roman Empire a lot anyway, because he loves history. I love history. But like truly, I do think about the Roman Empire all the time. And you
I know.
should. It's the greatest
I
civilization
mean,
that's ever been.
honestly,
Longest running.
I had no idea about that trend until my girlfriend told me about it. She's like, "Hey, you heard about this Roman Empire thing?" I'm like, "No, what the hell is that?" And then she's like, "Oh
So
yeah, that's how you
random.
think about what's a while." I'm like, "Oh, okay, now I got you. Now I
So
got
do
you."
you actually how often do you realistically think about the Roman Empire?
Not that often, unless I'm teaching
No?
it. No, no.
In the span
It's
of a
like a once
year.
a month thing. It's like a
Okay, so
once a
once a
month thing.
month. So you would say 12 times a year you think about the Roman Empire.
Potentially.
Potentially,
Potentially.
with shades of gray. Some years it might be 10, some years it might be
Might be
14.
14 exactly.
Yeah,
See,
okay,
we're on the
perfect.
same page. We got that
Yeah.
wavelength.
See, I'm
One
easily
thing,
like a once a week guy, like easily.
fair. One
Like not
thing
even
that
being hyperbolic.
I know that's the funny thing about you. I know you're being serious about that. One thing that I can do without like just and if you do this and you're happy with it, like good for you. I can't get into the Christmas caroling thing and seeing Christmas carolers and stuff like
Does
that.
anyone
I
actually do
just
that though? What is this, the
so,
1940s? I don't know anyone.
some people still do it, man. You would be shocked to see how many
Have you
people
ever had Christmas carolers?
I've seen Christmas carolers. Like I've seen people walk around with like, like pamphlets and stuff with like songs in them and stuff like that, like
Wishing
lyrics and
to
stuff.
wish you a Merry
Merry
Christmas. Do
Christmas
they
and
go to
wish.
your house?
No, not to our house. They never went to our house, but I would just see them like in the neighborhood and stuff like that, like walking
Yeah.
around,
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
not doing anything malicious. They're
No, of
singing, they're
course. Yeah.
expressing holiday cheer.
But it's like anyone who goes to your door, whether it's a Jehovah's Witness, a door-to-door salesman, your Verizon guy trying to upgrade your package. I don't think anyone very much likes somebody coming to their house, even if they're coming to spread Christmas joy. Usually, I lay down on my floor and pretend like no one's home, turn off all the lights. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hear your monotoned, you know, out of pitch singing. So I'm just gonna pretend like we're celebrating Christmas at the in-laws. Don't fucking come around.
Yeah, yeah, and except for like when we talked about the immediate family and like the extended family, we do love those other family members. Are like, yeah, hi,
Yeah,
where's the food so I can like
it
awkwardly get away from this conversation,
exactly, and, like,
please.
thinking of the logistics of it, like, neither one of us have ever had Christmas carolers, but I just imagine, like, my mind races to, like, what how would I react in that situation? And first of all, like, I wouldn't know where to look. Like, have you ever had somebody that, like, sings to you or plays the guitar for you? Like, I had a friend who, like, he was like, "Oh, let me play the song on guitar," and, like, he's playing it for me, and I'm like, I don't really know, like, how to react here, like, even to be a normal human being. It's like, I don't know where to put my hands, like, do I look at their face? Do I look at the guitar? Like my eyes kind of wander. It's like I don't really know where I'm supposed to look. So if I have people singing Christmas carols at my door, am I looking at them singing? Am I looking at the Winter Wonderland? Am I looking at their little pamphlets that they're singing? It gets into a whole what do I do socially here? It just makes me uncomfortable.
Look, no matter how we put it, Christmas is arguably the best time of the year. I love
Yeah.
Christmas. I really do. It's tough because I feel like it just goes by so quick, and especially when we're working. And this year's calendar, real quick, and we will talk Patriots. I promise, we will talk
Yes,
Patriots and
surely.
everything else.
We're trying to
But
avoid it, but we will.
exactly. But the calendar this year sucks because 3 days before is a Friday. You got Christmas Eve on Sunday, and then you
Yeah.
have Christmas on a Monday. So then you have that week, and then the weekend, and then New Year's Day falls on a Monday, and then you got to go back to work on a Tuesday. Like
Yeah.
I hate the way the calendar like panned out this year. It's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas, no matter what day it's on, it's like there's a month-long buildup and it's over like that. And you're like, all right, let's take all the decorations down. So as a whole, like it's kind of depressing once it comes and goes. But yeah, I think it's particularly shitty when it's on a Monday. Like last month
Yeah.
when I heard Christmas was on a Monday, I was like, like that just kind of blows. It just throws everything out of whack. It's weird.
But see, the best day for Christmas to be on is a Friday because you get Christmas on a Friday, you get New Year's on a Friday, then
Yeah.
you get the weekend off, then you start fresh on that Monday the 4th,
So
which is
you get the extra
perfect.
2 days coming off of New
Exactly.
Year's. That's a very teacher mentality of you there. I work weekends, so I'm fucked regardless. Like I'm
No,
working
I know.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah. God bless you, man. I do not envy you. Like I don't envy
Yeah,
you
it's
at
not
all.
ideal.
I got my break coming up. Like my girlfriend and I have our school vacation week for Christmas coming up. We're both
I
excited. We both need it. Like we need the break. Like
Yeah,
even the kids, the same thing. It's like I know the kids need it too. Like they want to break. Teachers want to
certainly.
break. Like we
Yeah.
all want to break.
As
So,
much as I'm sure they love coming in and seeing your gorgeous face every day, tell them about numbers and fractions and decimal points. I'm sure they could use
oh
that time
yeah,
away.
let me tell you how much they look forward to coming to math all the
Oh, I
time.
can imagine. Hey, I'm just thinking
Uh
about how itching I was to get to every math class, and certainly my math teacher was a grumbling 6'5", 300-pound overall wearing, straw chewing lunatic. But and I still look forward to it just because math is such a thrilling subject. I can only imagine how excited they would be having a young, strapping lad like yourself up there teaching the class.
Well, you're buttering me up, but you're still not getting a Christmas gift. All right, let's move
Yeah,
into
it's
the
worth a try.
Patriots. It was. I appreciate your efforts. All right, let's get into the actual game. So the Patriots took on the Chiefs in week 15. I want to make sure I got that right. It's 15 because it's 18-week season. I think that
Yeah,
sounds
I'll
right
never get used to that.
because they had the bye. So week 15 has come and gone. Patriots lose to the Chiefs 27-17 in Foxborough. Bailey Zappi actually played well in the first half, had 144 yards, had a touchdown pass to Hunter Henry. Patriots were right in the game. They're actually beating the Chiefs 10-7 in the first half at one point. And I think they were down, what was it, 14-10 and a half or something like that, but it was
Yeah,
competitive.
it's
You know what
it
I mean?
seems to be the trend here with Bailey Zappi, where it's like the first half, man. We were in it for
Right.
the first half. It's
Right.
the dude's clearly got a pattern going on here, but
Let's,
I thought this was going to be competitive the whole way. If you remember my prediction last week, I had the
I
Pats winning.
do. I do. And here's the thing, and we'll talk about the game, but the first thing we want to talk about, and we have to talk about it because obviously, big thing, Taylor Swift was in attendance at the game. She was in a suite. We all knew it was. There was somebody, and I'm not going to say who it was because I forget the name. There was someone on Twitter, X, that complained about being a fan of the Chiefs, like a fan of Taylor Swift. And then when Taylor Swift came on the Jumbotron, she got booed. Now, and I want to be careful with how I say this. You're not booing Taylor Swift, the person. Like,
No,
that's what people need to understand. You're booing the fact that she's in Foxborough wearing Chiefs gear. Like if she was wearing even I'm just saying, if she was wearing a Mac Jones jersey or like a Kendrick Bourne jersey or something like that, obviously everyone would be cheering, everybody would be hooping and hollering. But the fact that it's the Chiefs, the fact that it's Travis Kelce, who Travis Kelce honestly is one of the most just like how do I put this nicely? He is one of the most dislikable people in the NFL. He has just such like a punchable face. Like
yeah,
he just you can't stand Travis Kelce. And of course, who's she dating? Travis Kelce. And we all know that. But for the people that are like, oh, I've never had this experience before, like, what do you expect when you go to a game as an away fan? You're going to get booed. Now, should it ever
Yeah.
get physical? No, it should never get physical or anything like that. But you should expect that you're going to get some boos and you're going to be, heckled a little bit because that's the way sports fans are. Do I agree with it? In most cases, it's fine, but there are some cases where it toes the line. But just don't overreact. Like that's my big thing. Like
Yeah, I
you
mean,
knew she was going to be at the game.
people are quick to jump to conclusions and want to get outraged about something. I didn't even think about your answer. Actually, I thought it was something entirely different. So I tend to think the answer usually lies somewhere in the middle. Yes, I don't know why it didn't cross my mind, but the fact that she was in Gillette Stadium wearing the opposing team's jersey, Boston are very prideful in their sports. Yes, you're going to get booed. I don't know why that didn't cross my mind. That's probably a huge reason for it.
Right.
I also think there's been a lot of Taylor Swift exposure that, like, the NFL fans, the football fans are tired of watching, whatever team they support play the Chiefs and them cutting to Taylor Swift on TV 6 times throughout the game. It's like
Right.
if Jack Nicholson were a Kansas City Chiefs fan and he were to be at the game and they just pan to him at the beginning and they're like, Jack Nicholson's in the house. Like, I don't know if he would get booed, maybe because he has a Chiefs jersey on. I
Right.
bet if he wasn't wearing a jersey, he's just in a button-up shirt and they pan to Jack Nicholson, I bet everyone would go crazy regardless. They pan to him at the
Yeah.
beginning, Jack Nicholson's in the house, and then they never show him again. That's fine because he's not being overexposed. They're not cramming it down your throat, showing it every time Travis Kelce gets a catch. They're not going to show Jack Nicholson's reaction. Uh,
Exactly.
so I think my original jump to it being a Taylor Swift overexposure thing for dudes that really don't give a fuck about Taylor Swift. They just want to watch football and they're tired of seeing the Taylor Swift show. Um, but yeah, with the Kansas City Chiefs thing, it's probably somewhere in the middle. I would imagine that it's the fact that she's wearing the Chiefs jersey and the fact that they know that everyone in the stadium, as well as every Patriots fan watching on TV, I think I counted 4 Taylor Swift like camera angles, and
Yeah.
I was in and out. I didn't even watch like committed the whole game. I didn't watch every single snap of every game, at least the first go around. So that's four pans to Taylor Swift right there, and I'm sure the people are like, "All right, we get it. Taylor Swift's in the fucking crowd. Stop showing me Taylor Swift." So I think
Right.
it's somewhere in the middle.
I think so too. And last thing about this, and then we will move into the actual game. We've been teasing it long enough. But again, actually, what's funny? There was one instance where I think Travis Kelce didn't get the call in the end zone for a
Yep.
pass interference, and
Yeah,
she's just
Miles
like lets
Bryant.
out an F bomb. Like it turns to her in the camera, and you can literally hear her saying the F word. Yep, exactly. And everyone's like making a big deal out of it, and it was just like, dude, she's enjoying the game. Like, who
Yeah,
cares? Who genuinely cares that Taylor Swift lets
that
out
I
an F
love.
bomb?
I
Who
love that
cares?
because, like, I feel like a lot of when you're such a pop star like that, when you're Taylor Swift, when you're Beyonce, when you're that famous, where you cannot even go to the grocery store, it's probably a nightmare. I like that you can break the persona a little bit. You don't have to be a celebrity everywhere you go. You don't have to read the
No.
script like, "Oh my god, I'm just so grateful to be here." Blah blah blah. Like I want to see your real self, and I'm sure she's just getting into football this season now. After a whole season of following Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, she's probably a pretty decent fan. She understands
Yeah.
the game, and that was just a genuine reaction because every Chiefs fan at home is saying the same thing. Where's the fucking call? Oh my god. Like that's what we watch sports for, to get outraged, to get excited.
Well, you know the lyric, right, Liam? Karma is the guy on the Chiefs.
Oh god, my girlfriend said that to me like 3 times this past weekend. I was like, please I'm begging you. She was like, "We're going to the Patriots game, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course. I'll pick you up at noon."
No, no shot.
No
No
shit.
chance. No chance. All right. All right. Let's get into the actual game now. So we talked about it a little bit. So again, Patriots lose 27-17. They still are in the number 2 overall spot for the upcoming 2024 NFL draft. The Carolina Panthers giving the Patriots a chance potentially at number 1 by beating the Atlanta Falcons 9-7 on Sunday with a last second field goal.
My fandom comes full circle after supporting them with Cam Newton, baby.
Yep, exactly. So again, we don't love the fact that the Patriots keep losing, but Liam, I like to think that you're similar to me in our mindset for the rest of the season. If they win, great. Like we'll be happy with it. It's cool. But if they lose, it's like, okay, they still have the number 2 overall pick right
Yeah,
now. And if Carolina somehow pulls out another win, you got a shot at jumping them for 1.
yeah,
And that's where I'm thinking. But as far as the game is concerned, then and obviously we're going in like 5,000 different directions, as you can tell.
yeah,
And we'll talk about like draft position and everything because I feel like we have to after every game now because it's getting close to the end of the season. The actual game itself, the Patriots were competitive. They picked off Patrick Mahomes twice. Marte Mapu had a nice interception. Julian Tavai toward the end of the game when the game was a little bit out of reach, but still like somewhat competitive. Julian Tavai gets an interception. By the way, Kadarius Toney is so bad.
sucks. Yeah.
He's so bad. I know why
I
now
can't
I see
believe
why
he
the
beat the
Giants got rid
Eagles
of
in the
him.
Super Bowl. It's fucking ridiculous. It makes me even more mad that he had a great Super Bowl, seeing how fucking bad he is. Don't even, it actually
Oh,
changes
he's
something.
so terrible.
Yeah.
But again, the defense for the most part, I know 27 points were given up, but the defense got put in some bad positions, in some bad situations by the offense. Because I mean, look what happened in the second half, right? Liam, Patriots get the ball. First play that Bailey Zappi has, he throws a pick.
Yeah.
And then Kansas City gets it inside the red zone and they score on that. So that's why this team's margin of error is so razor thin. They cannot have bad plays and stupid penalties, but that's unfortunately, Liam, that's what this team is now. They're a
Yeah.
bad team that makes stupid mistakes. Look at the opening kickoff. Jalen Rieger took it to the 50-yard line, gets called back because of a
Miracle.
Brendan Schooler penalty.
Yeah.
That's a
I know.
32-yard penalty. And so instead of starting at midfield, you start at your own 18. It's stuff like that
Those
that
are the
just
mistakes
drives me
that have
nuts.
plagued the team all season, though. Last season, this season, the refs have been very unfavorable toward the Patriots, and I hate to play the ref game there, but we can point to 3 penalties that took away touchdowns, crucial touchdowns last season that would have won us more games and possibly gotten us a playoff spot. And then this season, there have been plenty of questionable ones, along with bad play. Um, I did want to kind of reiterate what you said earlier, where you're the logistic fan here, where you're like, all right, we're going for draft position. Obviously,
Mhm.
when the Patriots game started, we had no idea the Panthers were going to beat the Falcons. Fucking
Right.
miracle in and of itself.
I
Arthur
know.
Smith should absolutely be fired because I have Bijan Robinson on my fantasy team and he is killing me. But
Fair.
I at this point in the season, like as a Patriots fan, you just gotta relish in like the little things. You gotta want to play the villain. Like the Steelers had got high praise all season for being terrible, not moving the ball, but still winning games. And the Patriots go in there and blow the doors off them in the first half and end up winning. And now the perception of the Steelers has changed. A lot of people just think of them as a bad team and they imagine that
Right.
they're gonna lose most of their games to close out the year, and it seems like they will. They got
Right, because
smoked again.
they just real quick because they lost to the Cardinals and then they lost to the Patriots in back-to-back weeks. 2 games they should have won
Yeah, and then got
on
smoked by the
paper.
Colts yesterday, like, beaten pretty bad. The final score does not say how much of an ass kicking that game was either. Like, Mitch
Right.
Trubisky just got benched, for Mason Rudolph, who I can't believe is still alive. But yeah, so at this point, like, you just gotta play the villain, so I was excited. I wouldn't have minded the Patriots winning this game if it could be like, all right, let's be selective about our wins here. Like, yeah, I'm fine losing to Buffalo because we got the 1 win. Hell, like a loss to the Jets wouldn't particularly surprise me with the way the season's gone. But when we're playing a
Right.
good team, like Denver's kind of teetering, where people are like, are they a playoff team? They got smoked yesterday. They're like, is this team good? I wouldn't mind us beating Denver just because it would give me the satisfaction of ruining somebody else's season. The Patriots can go in there and put together a miracle game and start to show some structure of a possible good team that we'll have next year.
Mhm.
Those are the little things that I'm rooting for above like the draft position where it's like, yes, we're probably going to get a top 3 pick no matter what. I know we're probably bad, but throughout most of this game, I'm like, fucking beat the Chiefs, baby. Like, I do not care about draft position right now. I want to see Kadarius Tony get cut tomorrow. I want the headlines to be Patrick Mahomes is having his worst season this year. The Chiefs just lost to the whatever 3-2-8 Patriots, whatever it is, whatever unspeakable record they have.
Now they're 3-10. Now they're three and
Mhm.
eleven.
Yeah. And I wanted the headlines to be, what's up with the Chiefs? And that would just, as a Patriots fan, give me the little bit of satisfaction to be like, all right, if we're going to be that bad, let's get some wild upsets in there. Let's fuck some shit up.
Yeah, and I can understand that perspective. I really, really do. But at this point,
Yeah, it doesn't
again,
serve us well in the long run. I do understand.
it doesn't, and that's part of the problem that I have with that mindset. Not necessarily you being the one thinking it,
Yeah,
but like I'm not saying don't root for wins. Like if you get a win, again, like I said, celebrate the win,
yeah.
enjoy the win, do what you
Because the
have to
Steelers
do.
win felt good. I assume you felt good after the
And
Steelers win. You're like, fuck yeah.
so I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
but. Then I saw the strength of schedule and I saw the Patriots have the advantage. I'm like, okay, cool. We can
Yep.
celebrate this. It's always good to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh, especially.
Yeah.
That's been a feeling that's been
We
great since
still own the Steelers. That feels good.
it's been the best feeling since the 2001 AFC Championship when Drew Bledsoe came in and beat that Steelers team on the
Damn
road.
right.
It still
Yeah.
never gets old,
That's our
but
bitch.
it is. But regardless, I think it was competitive. It was competitive in the first half. You showed a little bit of fight at the end, but even at the end, you're down 10. You're not going to the playoffs. Why play so conservative? Just take a shot downfield. Like,
Yeah.
who cares? Maybe, a miracle happens. Tyquan Thornton gets open. Maybe he beats his man, goes down the field. All of a sudden, you got a shot.
I mean,
But again,
exactly.
take the
You have
chance.
nothing to
Take the
lose. Hang
chance.
your balls out there. Like, why not? I want Madden plays. Give me four verticals. Like, just throw it. Three straight downs, deep passes. I don't care. You really have nothing to lose. I mean,
You
we got a
don't.
cat. We got a Kevin Harris appearance in this game, which was awesome. He actually his touchdown run was killer. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a bit. But it's like if we're playing dudes like this, the season's fucking over. And we'll talk about Cole Strange, all the injuries. This
Mhm.
season was over in week 2. So it's like just go out there and fucking sling it. And that's one of the things that I would get pissed about with Mac Jones, where it's like all his passes, like they would drop like short crossing routes over the middle. It's like, dude, fuck that. Like throw it deep, god damn it. We had Devontae Parker at the end of the Raiders game. Yes, he dropped it, but I want to see passes like that. I want to see that
Right.
4 times a game, 5 times a
Yep.
game. Fucking air it out. We have nothing to lose. We're not
Not
doing
at this
it.
point.
And
Not at this point.
heaven forbid somebody gets hurt on like one of these deep routes or whatever. Well, the whole fucking team's hurt. They'll be fine by next year. Like, let's just fucking do it. And the whole thing, like, that drives me crazy. Where it's like, all right, I don't. What was it like 3rd and 24 or something like that? And they run it up the middle with Zeke. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
It's a safe play. It's the Patriots' play to do.
it
Fucking
is.
throw it to the sideline. Even like, you know, one of those like shallow crosses over the middle with blockers in front of you. Give me something other than just a run up the middle. Don't just
Right.
throw the throw in the
A little
towel. Yeah.
creativity, a little originality would be nice.
Yeah. Like what are
Exactly.
we French? Don't wave the white flag so
I
early on.
know.
Just go fucking jump right into it.
Just
I
give
don't
it a
know.
shot. I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
Hang your
and one
balls out.
thing, the Chiefs didn't look like this world beater type of team. They
No.
look similarly. Someone made this comparison on Twitter, X, whatever, and I kind of agree with this. They almost look like the 2019 Patriots, where they
Yeah.
have the quarterback, they don't really have the weapons, but they're still winning games, and people think they still have a chance to win something, but they're not good enough to really win it that year. That's kind of the comparison that I took a look at. I'm like, you know what? That does kind of make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. They have great moments. Like they almost beat the Eagles. If Marquez Valdez Scantling could catch a handoff, they would have beaten the Eagles in that game. They're still highly competitive. You're right. I think with the right quarterback, you're in any game, in a sense. But they just seem like they don't have the mojo this year. Kadarius Tony,
Correct.
yeah, he sucks. But also, I think he's gotten in his own head where all you hear about are his drops, his mistakes, his offsides, how bad of a year he's having. So I bet when he lines up for a route at the beginning of a play, all he's thinking about is don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, instead of I'm going to go out there and play football. So then when you're playing to not make a mistake, you're just going to make mistakes. It's like when you're giving a presentation, you're like, don't say something stupid, don't say something stupid. Then you say
Exactly.
something stupid, you're like, oh my God, like that was the one thing I didn't want to do. I just think what he has kind of embodies the whole team where it's like, all right, we're gonna go out there and roll. We're not gonna make any mistakes. And they go out there and they're doing the best with what they got, but they end up shooting themselves in the foot in a million different ways, and they don't look like the team that fucking beat my Eagles in the Super Bowl last year.
They don't. But do we have anything else on the actual like Chiefs game? Because there's a couple topics that we can bring up that aren't necessarily related to the game. But
Yeah,
do you have anything else on the game that you
I
wanted
did.
to get off your chest?
I said this. I predicted the Patriots to win last week. Super bold. Obviously that didn't come to fruition, but I don't think I was particularly far off. Bill Belichick just has some quarterbacks and some teams' numbers. Like obviously he's got the Steelers number, but he has Patrick Mahomes' number. Always has. Like doesn't matter how good or how bad Mahomes plays. When he plays the Patriots, we're always in it. I think it
Yep.
was that same 2019 year when N'Keal Harry stepped out of bounds.
I was at that
Ste-
game.
Oh yeah, stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
We were very much in that game. I think the Chiefs kind of ran away with it toward the end, but the final score didn't say how close it was. We
Right.
had no business being that close in the game with a record-setting 50 touchdowns Patrick Mahomes that year. And whatever Bill Belichick does on defense, it kills Patrick Mahomes. And Andy Reid knows it. He was singing Belichick's praises at the end of the game. I just think there's something to be said for the greatest head coach of all time who consistently goes out there and gives the greatest quarterback in our league right now, and maybe potentially the greatest quarterback ever one day, constantly giving him problems along with just about any other quarterback who rolls into town.
So Belichick, yes, I give him credit. He did have a good game plan. I mean, he had Mahomes throw 2 interceptions. That's all
Yeah.
well and good.
And they had a potential for another one when Rasheed Rice fumbled. It wasn't an interception, but they had Rasheed Rice fumbling. That's potential 3 turnovers there. That's
It
killer.
is. Excuse me. It is. You win the turnover battle. You should win the game, but it. Here we are.
Very.
Here's where we are. All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about this real quick. Bailey Zappi has now had 3 starts on the season in a row. At the Chargers start where they didn't score, had the Pittsburgh game, which they won, scored 21 points all in the first half. And then the third game against the Chiefs, they end up scoring 17. So quick math, that's 38 points in 3 games, about 12.6 points per game. So right around
You
the
are a
average of
fucking calculator. Damn.
I am. I do math quick.
You're
I
good.
listen. I am. Thank you. But yeah, so they are basically averaging the same amount that they've averaged all year because they've averaged around like 10 to 13 points a game this year. So I guess, Liam, let me ask you this. Have you seen enough from Bailey Zappi that you can make a determination about his status for next year? I'm not saying he's going to be the starter,
No.
but basically, do you think that he's done enough to at least earn a roster spot consistently on this team next year?
This team,
And by the way, don't you have stats
maybe.
for Bailey Zappi?
I
Don't you
do.
have?
Yeah. And I'll bring that up momentarily. This team, yeah, I guess I would say he has. Like, Bailey Zappi is as talented as Jake Browning, and he's going out there, and Jake Browning's carving up teams. Like I bet if Bailey Zappi had Jamar Chase and T Higgins, he'd probably have much better stats than I'm about to read off. He has changed my opinion of him in a sense because at the beginning of the season, Mac was benched 400 times, and Bailey Zappi would come in relief, and Zappi never threw a touchdown, didn't look very good. So since taking over, he's gone 55 of 84 for 561 yards. This is all in 3 games. Average basically 65% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's been sacked 6 times. So the stats are fine. They don't blow you away. 561, I think, is fairly decent. Completion percentage is fine. 4 and 2 touchdown to interception ratio. I'll take it. I'm not expecting fucking magic. He's been sacked 6 times. I'm surprised it's not more, but it seems like the whole offense is just playing better. I think everyone just needed a change. I don't think it was Mac's fault at all, but most people say new is always better. And I think Bailey Zappi coming in here bred some life that players are going to play a little harder for this dude just because he's different. And it's something that doesn't remind you of how fucking bad they were against the Saints and the Cowboys. So I think he's definitely warranted a roster spot in the league, I would say. Especially after the last game. Like when he lit up the Steelers in the first half, I was like, okay, now he's making throws that I would have never imagined him making. Like very pinpoint. The Hunter Henry in the front left pylon, that touchdown was an immaculate throw. Just beat the defender. It was glorious. Throws that I never would have imagined him making. He has earned a roster spot. I just don't know if it's with the Patriots. I think that there's like a big notion to kind of clean house, and I think most players are going to be gone, at least on the offense next year. I think there's going to be a huge rehaul. The defense, I think there's a lot to be salvaged. I don't know if management feels the same way. They might just fucking rehaul the whole team for the most part. But I think he has played fine. Like, I, can you think of any reason that Bailey Zappi hasn't earned a spot in the league? There are way worse quarterbacks who have got way more opportunities than this dude in 3 games, the run that he's had.
Right. I think Bailey Zappi is a perfect NFL backup quarterback.
Yeah,
That's what I think he is. I think he's a backup in the league.
yeah,
He shouldn't be starting 16 games a year, but if you need someone in a pinch, he can come in, he can run the offense. And honestly, you're okay with the stats. That's the
yeah,
thing. You're okay with him coming in. It's not like some of these really bad backups. You're like, oh my gosh, like, Easton Stick or whatever the dude from the Chargers
yeah,
is coming in. Or like you said, Jake Browning. Jake Browning hasn't been bad, but like he's not one of these guys that's like, oh my gosh, like you have no chance. Like Bailey Zappi, I mean, he played well against the Steelers in the first half of the Thursday night game, played well in the first half against the Chiefs. But the thing is, he can't play 4 quarters of a football game. That's the
no,
thing. He can't keep it together for 4 quarters. And that's the part that concerns me. And don't forget, too, Mac Jones, I think, has 1 more year on his current deal. So for those this
yes,
offseason that are going to say, just get rid of Mac, the Patriots are probably not going to get rid of him because he's so cheap on a rookie contract. That's the thing. I'm not saying they shouldn't get rid of him because I think at this point, you had the experiment, it failed. Like, get rid of him and start over because you're probably going to draft a quarterback anyway, unless Marvin Harrison Jr. is on the board, which we'll get
yeah,
to in a little bit. But Bailey Zappi has earned the right to be on this Patriots team, I think, for next year as a backup quarterback. And if the starter's playing bad, whether it's, if you draft Caleb Williams, you draft Drake May, you draft Jaden Daniels out of LSU, who just announced he's going to the NFL today. So, good for Jalen Daniels. Happy birthday, by the way,
stud.
Jalen Daniels, too. But
Oh wow, that's fucking
yeah, I
wild.
know. Exactly.
Um,
But
yeah, for a little comparison here, because it just kind of it makes it easier when we can look at two backups that played this year and kind of compare. And we'll even use the division rival, Tim Boyle, the guy who relieved
for the
Zach Wilson.
Jets. Yep.
Yep. So he started 2 games as opposed to 3. So take that into consideration with these numbers here. But when I look at his numbers, 48 of 77 for 360 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. So you assume if he played another game, he'd probably get another 100 passing yards at very least. So he'd be around. He'd actually be about 100 yards less than Bailey Zappi, I would say. 1 touchdown, 4 picks is downright terrible. But he
Right.
wasn't much of a starter in college either. Bailey Zappi threw like 70 touchdowns in college. But if you look at that, this guy was consideration for the starter. Brought him in, didn't work out well, but he got the opportunity. The standard for backup quarterbacks is not stellar. In fact, most people are surprised when they play well. And Josh Dobbs played so well, they shipped him out so they could keep losing games. Then Kyler came back and now he got benched again. But he was playing very well in both locations that he went to, and everyone was surprised because he was supposed to go in there and stink it up. So the
Mhm.
expectations are never high for a backup. But just directly looking at Tim Boyle compared to Bailey Zappi, yeah, Bailey Zappi is significantly better than Tim Boyle. And at very least, there's out of 32 teams, a team is going to pick him up, whether it's the Patriots or somebody else. I think it's 57 different quarterbacks have started this year up until week 15. This year, last year was 59 up until this week. It's usually around 50 different quarterbacks play. Can you hear me? You
Yeah,
cut
I
out for
got
a
you.
second.
I got you.
Yeah. So last year, it's usually around high 50s each year of quarterbacks playing. There's always injuries. There's always something going on.
Right.
So why wouldn't a team take a shot? It seems like backup quarterbacks are more valued now than ever. So unless you're getting a stud backup like Jacoby Brissett or apparently Jake Browning or any of these guys that are going out there and balling, why wouldn't you take the risk on Bailey Zappi, who stepped in here on a downright terrible team that has very little talent and had a positive touchdown to interception ratio with 561 yards and a decent completion percentage?
Yeah, I think a conversation is going to have to be had this offseason with Bill Belichick or if there is a new head coach or whatever it is, right? Whatever the situation is, you got to consider Bailey Zappi to be a part of this roster. Even if that means Mac Jones goes to the scout team at this point, like fine, like go in next year with either Williams in
Damn, dude.
May. I mean, listen, that's the reality. That's where we're probably headed. You could have Bailey Zappi in the quarterback room. You could have either May or Williams in the quarterback room or Daniels, one of those three. Then you have Mac Jones in the quarterback room. And Mac Jones wouldn't be completely, useless. I mean, he knows the offense inside and out, so he can help the younger guys like understand it and understand it well while he looks for another opportunity. So that's why I know it's how the mighty have fallen, right? 3 years ago, he was a Pro Bowler as a rookie. And now I'm mentioning that he could be on the scout team next year. Like that's just
Yeah.
how far the mighty have fallen. But
Yeah. Do you think I just think when you think of somebody as the future like that and then they get downgraded so much so you kind of have to get rid of them. Like, do you think there's
you
any
have to.
trade value for Mac Jones? I know it's way too early to even talk about this, but just offhand, if we were to trade Mac Jones, do you think any team would be interested and we'd be able to get anything back?
No, I think no, I don't think anybody would
There's
trade for
nothing
him.
salvageable about it because I
Maybe
thought
at
he had
the
some fine moments.
he did, but at the absolute best, he'd probably be like like a fifth round pick at the best, right now. But
Yeah. Oh,
again,
yeah.
there
Like even for a seventh, like I think if it
exactly like a sixth
would
or
there
seventh,
be
I think
a
would be
team that'd
reasonable.
be worth willing to like take the fucking risk with him? Like the Vikings started Nick Mullen yesterday. You think they'd rather have Mac Jones over Nick Mullen?
I think the Vikings would be a logical choice because that was a team that was rumored at the trade deadline that people were
Or
saying,
was
oh,
it?
Mac Jones could be, head to the Vikings when Kirk Cousins went down. I think a team maybe like the Commanders or something could potentially use a quarterback. I mean, unless they really believe in Sam Howell, which I think they believe in Sam Howell. I think they like what he's done this
Yeah,
year, but
I
but I
like him.
can't. I know, and I can't really think of any other teams because what other team really desperately needs a quarterback? Maybe
Yeah,
like
but
I'm
they'd
just
be getting him to be a backup too. Like I don't think anyone's getting Mac Jones to be a starter.
no, I don't think
And
so either. But
Sam Darnold's the backup for the 49ers, which is a fantastic team. What has I you're probably more of a I actually like Sam Darnold, but I know the vast majority of people don't. What has Sam
yeah,
Darnold shown you that you could think, oh, Sam Darnold should be on my team, even as a
right,
backup role?
nothing. Right, right. And I think Mac Jones, yes, if anyone's going to pick him up, it's going to be as a backup. But then people are probably going to say, okay, he's got 1 year left on his deal. We'll just wait till the Patriots get rid of him, then we can get him for cheap in free agency. So that's
So
probably what people are
yeah,
thinking.
but he already has a cheap contract. Like you trade a seventh round pick for him or something like that. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Even who's Trevor Lawrence's backup? Because he was worried. They were worried he was going to get hurt. CJ
Was it
Beathard, I think.
Bether? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that
CJ
sounds right.
Beathard. Yeah. So I mean, is Mac Jones better than him? I would say so. I think he's had more success than Sam Darnold, which is crazy because I do like Sam Darnold. But just
Right,
that one good year that Mac had, Sam Darnold's never really had a year like that.
right,
And he
right.
just keeps getting backup jobs. I could totally see Mac Jones in a good offense with a competent coach. Like, dude, fucking. I know they have Stetson Bennett, but as Matt Stafford's backup in LA, I think Mac Jones could ball as a backup in LA. Throwing to Cooper Cup and Puka and anyone else they got with a strong run game where all he has to do is distribute the ball. I think he would be more than successful. But it's just about getting him in the right system. If you send him to Washington, he's fine.
Right. He needs to be in a place where they have good weapons, they have a good coaching scheme, they have a good head coach, a good offensive coordinator, obviously around him. So
He
they
needs the
need,
Brock Purdy treatment.
he does. He does. That's a perfect comparison. He needs to have the Brock Purdy situation. I agree with
Yeah.
that 100%. But let's move off the quarterbacks for a second because we have some other things that I do want to touch on. This one we'll do a quick hitter just to kind of fill some time before we get into a couple deeper topics. Cole Strange out for the season, knee injury. He was playing
Surprise,
really well.
surprise.
I
He
know, but
was.
he was playing well. But the thing is, I think it's just people are so sick of Cole Strange because he was a first round draft pick. And they want him to come in and be like the Mike McGlinchey of the left side.
Yeah.
And I
New
know,
Shaq Mason.
right? I know McGlinchey hasn't had that great of a year in Denver, but even so, they wanted that level of production from before, and they're not getting it. And that's hard for fans, especially since it's his second year. But I think it just comes with the hits, right? I mean, everyone's gotten injured this year, so it's another one bites the dust, as
Yeah.
the Queen song goes to say.
Damn right. The wise words of Freddie Mercury, baby. I think
Yep.
you're going to start seeing this from a lot of teams that just aren't in contention by any means and just aren't good. And even from some contenders, like I wouldn't mind seeing the 49ers sit some of their guys for these last couple games because they're injury prone as all hell and things tend to fall apart when they ride full speed into the playoffs with all their guys worn down. I think teams like the Patriots, you have nothing to lose shutting down guys like Cole Strange, whoever our young studs would be at Christian Barmore, like who balled out in this last game. Love Christian Barmore. If he stubs his toe, shut him down for the rest of the season. Like save these guys. There's no reason for them to go out there and put the extra wear and tear on their body when we have absolutely nothing to play for. And then you're gonna get some guy who's fighting to make a roster spot, just barely on the team, go in there, and he's going to try his fucking ass off. And hell, maybe that ends up being a stud, maybe it ends up being nothing. But at least it gives another guy an opportunity in a season that's completely failed. Like if Ramondre Stevenson was healthy, we should shut down Ramondre for the rest of the season. What do we have to lose? I do not want Ramondre to be gone for all of next season and running backs just the wear and tear piles up each season. Don't bring Ramondre back. I don't want to see him in the last game of the season go out there and take a bunch of hits to run for 50 yards. We don't need any of that.
You don't bring him back. I heard a report that Matt Judon could come back before the season ends. Like, don't even bother.
Why?
Just get everybody right. Get everybody ready for 2024. That's the big thing here.
Yeah. And it's clearly a tank job. Like if the team did that, like it would be a bad look. Like the NFL would probably say something. Like Pop Douglas came back last game. Why? The dude's tiny. I don't want him to get amendolaed up and have another concussion before the season ends or some long term injury that could hamper him in the next couple seasons. I don't want to deal with any of that. If he's even nicked, get him off the field.
Right. So let's move on. Oh, by the way, the Patriots picked up some quarterback from Jacksonville. He was in like the CFL. I don't even know the dude's name. That just goes to show how irrelevant it really is because they don't get anybody that's that good. Oh, sorry, Nathan Rourke. Because Will Greer went to the Chargers, so he's officially gone again. And again, it's just it's playing musical chairs at the quarterback position. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's literally
it proves we don't want to win. Like we're getting some dude from the CFL. 4 weeks ago, we could have got Joe Flacco, who has thrown for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns in his only 2 starts of the season. We could have went out there and got a very competent quarterback. Hell, old but very competent. Yeah. And we're just not doing it. There are plenty of guys out there looking for jobs that are far more competitive and far better than Nathan Rourke. But we're not looking for that. Much like I said, shut these guys down for the season. We have nothing to play for, so why would we go out and get a stud? So not surprised. Just another dude, like you said. It's a swinging door at this point. Like you want some NFL experience, come be the second, third string quarterback for the Patriots.
Exactly. Like I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of it, man. I am. I'm so sick of it.
Season's almost over, baby. Yeah,
Thank God. 3 weeks.
It's a fucking marathon.
And then we can just put all of our focus on the Celtics, which will be glorious. But again, we're here to talk the Patriots. But anyways, okay. So this is the big thing that I wanted to talk about. Besides, and then we'll preview the Broncos at the end. That's probably going to be the end of the episode. A couple reports came out, a couple different sources. Tommy Curran for NBC Sports Boston, and then Jeff Howe also came out and doubled down on this. It seems like the Patriots and Bill Belichick are going to be parting ways at the end of the season, but then Ian Rappaport came out and said that no decision has been made. Nothing's finalized yet. So I'm going to ask you this, Liam. I know that you are, out of the three of us, the biggest Belichick truther. That you are the big Belichick guy out of the three of us.
Stand with Bill, baby.
You stand with Bill. So let me ask you this. Do you believe any of the reports that are coming out about the Patriots? Do you believe anything that Tommy Curran or Jeff Howe says? Or are you more on the side of Ian Rappaport where it's like, I don't think they know what they're doing and who knows what they're going to do after these last 3 weeks play out. So give me your take on just kind of what people are saying and if your thought process has changed at all.
I mean, first of all, after the Tommy Curran tweet, Rappaport came out and kind of like almost like corrected them and was like, I reported after the Bills game when we won. that they signed Belichick to a deal in the preseason. So
Right.
Rappaport and Curran kind of had some talks back and forth. There wasn't any malice. They weren't arguing by any means, but he just kind of said, I had a conflicting report earlier this season saying that they locked him to a deal. So that none of that would make sense from what Tom Curran said. I think it's so up in the air, and it's even weirder when you have two conflicting reports. And I do trust Tom Curran's reporting for the most part. He's always been very reputable. There's truly no reason why I would think he would make this up. But Ian Rappaport's kind of the standard. He's the Woj of the NFL, I would say. Like when you hear from
I agree with
Rappaport,
that.
you know it's official.
Him or Schefter. Those are the two big
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, Schefter too. Um, so I tend to lean more towards Rappaport's thing, but I don't think anyone truly knows. The Patriots have always kept everything in-house. Uh, so when I try and make sense of this whole thing, it just seems like such a scrambled mess. All I can do is look at it with my own personal bias, and I always have a lot of bias. I'm sure you're well aware. I
Oh
tend to have,
no, I didn't pick
yeah,
up on that through all the
yeah.
episodes I've done with
My
you.
opinion, my opinion is said to be a little thick. So I I don't know. It's a weird one for me where I think Tom Curran might have went into it with a little bit of his bias where he's like, this Patriots team is terrible. This is not the organization I've covered for a decade or however long he's been doing it. And he kind of wants a fresh start. So I think he might have jumped the gun a little bit with his reporting. Maybe he heard a rumor and his hope that Belichick's gone kind of pushed him to send that tweet. Um, so I guess I lean more toward Rappaport here. I just don't think there's any merit to um, Bill Belichick being fired at the end of the season or even forced out. Like I can't think of any reason why after just one really bad year that it would be like, all right, Belichick's done. Like he can't coach anymore. That just seems completely nonsensical to me. And when we look at how good the defense has been, minus this game where we gave up 27, every other game we've been very stout on defense. I have no reason to think that besides maybe picking up personnel, I can't think of a lot of criticism for Bill.
So you bring up a good argument. There's one part that I disagree with you on, and I'm gonna bring that up in a second. If it was just Tommy Curran, that was the only one that said this, I'd be like, okay,
Yeah, because I
this
didn't
could
see
just
the
be
Jeff one.
yeah. So the Jeff Howe. So for those who don't know who Jeff Howe is, he's an NFL national insider for the Athletic, writes a lot of stuff about the Patriots, a Boston guy, and he doubled down on what Tommy Curran said and basically said, yeah, like this is happening. Like the fact that there's another reporter out there that's very reputable and doesn't really miss on these, the fact that Jeff Howe doesn't
Yeah.
miss on these, like that kind of persuades me in that direction a little bit.
So it's a two
My whole
against
thing,
one thing where it's like one report against two.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. But then again, the validity of the one is so much greater to
Really
me than the
strong.
validity of the two. And I'm not saying Jeff Howe and Tommy Curran don't do a good job what they do, because they do.
Yep.
But
But
I
like we
mean, you
said, Rappaport's the gold standard.
exactly. Rappaport and Schefter are the two big ones where, like, if they tweet it out, it's 100%. Like they
Yeah.
don't miss, and that's part of the thing. The only thing that I disagree with you on, I don't think it's the fact that the Patriots and Belichick would split ways because the Patriots don't think Belichick can coach anymore. I don't think that's the case. I think the reason for the split is just because it's time for something new. It's similar, and I hate to bring this up, and I know you guys hated it when it happened, but it's similar to the Brady situation because it was Brady where, you know what, they had 20 good years. Brady wanted to do something different, so he went and did something different, and it ended up pretty well for him. Belichick, for all we know, we don't know this, but who knows? Maybe in the back of his mind, he's like, you know what? The Patriots are kind of going nowhere right now. There's a couple
Maybe.
teams that could use my services.
If it's Bill's idea, then I will admit fault where it's like, all right, if Bill wants to
Right,
retire, so be it. He could have retired 3 years
exactly.
ago. I wouldn't think it's deserved.
And the
Um,
Chargers, and just real quick before you step in there, I just want to make this one point. Don't forget, the Chargers fired their head coach Brandon Staley
yes.
after getting embarrassed on Thursday Night Football by the Raiders, 63-21. That was an embarrassment. I am so glad they got rid of him because he is a clown as a head coach. You don't think Bill's sitting there being like, you know what, just like keep an eye on it in the back of his mind. He's like, you know what, Chargers got Justin Herbert. They got some receivers. Their defense is actually pretty good. they could make a run at things if they just get the right head coach in there and the right coaching staff.
It
So
it's something to think about. Before I address the Chargers part, you brought up the comparison with Tom Brady. Let's think about coaches, because I think players and positions, there's always a shelf life when it comes to a position. You draft a guy, he has 10, 15 years, usually max on the team, and then it's assumed that he's either going to retire or go elsewhere. There's always a
mhm.
shelf life. But for coaches, I mean, look at the Steelers where they had Tomlin, Bill Cowher, and then I'm so bad. Hallis. Was it
George
Hallis was
Hallis,
yeah, before
Bears,
him.
the Bears.
No, not George Allison. So he was the Bears.
Bill
Who was
Cowler.
the
Are you talking Bill Cowler?
yeah, before him, the Steelers head coach before him. I'm
Oh,
so
oh,
bad.
um,
Call
oh
him
my
Incos.
gosh.
He's a fucking stud, and I'm
Chuck
losing it.
Noll.
Chuck Noll, that's it. Okay, so they had Noll, Cower, and Tomlin, and then all of those guys left on their own terms. The Steelers are a completely unique organization because they're the only team that has carried three coaches for so fucking long. But when you think about other very successful coaches, have any of them ever been kind of pushed out the door or even like got the damnation that Bill Belichick has this year? And I think a lot of it's due to the media and the exposure of the modern age. But think about any other great coach and how their tenure with that team ended. Has it ever been like they kind of got pushed out the door? I can't think of it.
Well, I mean, Shula and Landry were kind of like they recognized it, and the organization recognized it, and it was like okay, like especially Landry. Landry's last year in Dallas was like a 3-14 type of year, just like something really really bad. And I think
Yeah.
both sides kind of came to the agreement of like let's just move on. We had our great run in like I think for Dallas it was like the 80s or something like that, or the 90s. Sorry, the 90s. But even so, it's like when it's time to move on, it's time to move on. And I think if Bill, like I said last week, and I will stay true to this, if Bill wants to stay here and he wants to coach until his contract's up or until he retires, whichever one comes first. I know he has 1 year left in his deal, but obviously he can extend his contract. If he wants to stay, fine. Like, but fix what we have, like fix this
Yeah.
mess. Because I think that's part of the problem that people have with Belichick too, Liam. It's not necessarily Belichick the coach, because Belichick as the coach is
The best.
really is one of the best of all time.
Be great.
But it's the personnel decisions and the drafting that has really, really gotten people to be like, all right, Bill, it's time for you to go. That's the part that people are like, all right, like something has to change there.
I think
Now, if you
that's because
take that,
everything's under a microscope now.
it is. And if you take that part away from Belichick, you say, we're going to have other people handle the drafting. Like, you want to get rid of Matt Groh? If you want to get rid of Matt Groh, and then you want to get someone else in there, get some new blood in there for the drafting purposes, then fine, let Belichick just be the coach. He cannot be both next season. That's my whole point. He cannot be both the GM and the head coach. Keep him as the head coach if you want, but then strip the GM powers away from him. That's my whole
Yeah.
thing.
Let's see, when I think about like how did Don Shula go? He retired after the 1995 season. The Dolphins were 9-7, lost in the wild card. Still had Dan Marino. Dan Marino retired in 2000, maybe 99. So they still had a Hall of Fame quarterback. They still had success. They had still made the playoffs, and he walked away. I just can't think of like any head coach that has got such like a what seems like a deplorable end as Bill Belichick has, and I don't believe it's the end. But he's up there with Don Shula. He's the greatest. He is the best. But the other great ones, Don Shula, George Hallis, all the other very successful coaches that have been, none of them get this treatment. This I can't believe you're drafting terribly, blah blah blah. Like they're the greatest. You can't do this to them. So if Belichick wants to leave, so be it. It's always his choice. He should be able to go out on his own terms. If he wants to go to the Chargers, the argument that you make is compelling. Does Belichick want to uproot his life at the ripe age of like 80 years old to go coach for the Chargers for like 5 years before he retires? It's a pretty big life decision that I'm sure weighs more heavily than they have a really good team. Like I think it would just be such a burden to go to another team. Doesn't matter how good if Andy Reid retired tomorrow, and they offered Bill Belichick a position, I'm sure he'd be like, well, the team's stacked, but I have to move to Kansas City and uproot everything that I've become so used to. I think that would be a huge burden. I can't imagine any of that.
And maybe it doesn't. Maybe Belichick likes his life in New England. Maybe he wants to stay here. Who knows? Really, who knows? The only
And
person
he
that
should
knows is
get that
Bill.
because he is the greatest head coach of all time. And for us to speak so damningly of him just because we've had this bad year, and yeah, maybe he's missed on a couple draft picks, but when you're drafting for one team for 24 years, yeah, you're going to have some misses. Just sheer volume alone. You're a former baseball star. If you got on the mound and somebody fired 24 balls at you, how many of those do you think you would hit?
Oh man. If I actually warmed up,
Yeah.
how fast is the pitcher?
Well, the pitcher would be of your level, so a former college athlete.
So if it's Division 3, if I actually warmed up, I could hit at least half of them, I think.
Yeah. Okay. And that's, that's sheer volume. You got 24 attempts, you thinking you can hit 12.
Yeah,
And I think that's a pretty good percentage. I never played baseball. I don't know how that's calculated. But
fair. Fair.
But in terms of Bill Belichick's drafting, he has, assumably 7 draft picks for 24 years. Yeah, you're going to miss on some. And yes, maybe it's been worse as of recent. But in the end, it's a complete crapshoot. There's no one team that drafts flawlessly every year. There's no
Right.
one team that fucking kills it. The Steelers can draft wide receivers. They can't draft quarterbacks. They can't draft other things. Every team that's good at drafting something, the Kansas City Chiefs apparently can't draft wide receivers, but fucking A, can they draft a quarterback? And it's all just everyone's throwing shit against the wall. So I don't like the he can't draft. No one can draft. There's no science to it. No one can figure it out. Yes, did he bring in Zeke and Juju, who are, you know, the burden of my life, truly abysmal players? Yeah, he did. Probably wasn't the greatest move ever. But we also signed Jabbar Gaffney, who I didn't think was very good at the time, and he ended up being fine. We've had a ton of questionable players come in. Albert Hainsworth, everyone was like, don't sign this guy. He's a fucking maniac. He's a lunatic and he's lazy. Belichick's like, fuck it. We're bringing him in anyway. Didn't work at all. But he brought him in because, fuck, I can do what I want. So I have absolutely no problems with the mistakes he's made because it comes with the game. And the sample size is so large, I can pull out plenty of successes too.
I'm going to ask you a hypothetical real quick, and I'm going to set the scene for you. Say Bill Belichick, say his last year with the Patriots was going to be 2024, no matter what. Okay, let's preface by saying that. Okay, still with me?
Keep talking.
Okay, so let's say that Belichick's final year was 2024. Like we knew that was going to be the last year, and in the offseason,
Yeah.
oh, there we go. In the offseason, the Chargers call the Patriots and say, hey, listen, we know Bill isn't going to stay. We want Bill. We'll give you our first round pick this year and our first round pick in 2024. Or sorry, the 2025 draft. Right now, the Chargers have the overall pick if the season ended today. They don't have Justin Herbert for the rest of the year. I think he's done for the year. Do you make the trade to now have 2 top 10 picks where you could potentially get a combination of whatever you wanted and rebuild a little bit? If you knew that Belichick's last year was 100% going to be 2024.
If I knew, okay, take me through that again. If I knew next year was his last year, what happened?
So technical difficulties, they suck either way. But
Yeah.
if 2024 was Bill Belichick's last year and you knew it, and the Chargers call you and say, listen, we know that Bill is only going to stay there for one more year. We'll take him off your hands for our first round pick this year. So right now the Chargers are 8th overall. If that season ended today, they'd be 8th overall in the draft. And we'll give you our first rounder for next year. Because keep in mind, when Sean Payton got traded, he got 3 first rounders. There's no reason why Belichick can't get 2. If you get 2, he should, but I don't know if anybody's going to give him. If you get 2 first rounders, this year's top 10, and then next year a first rounder, no matter what, and you know Belichick's done after 2024, no matter what in New England, do you take that deal?
Well, yes, because I know he's done after next year. That's a huge contingency.
Say he's uncertain now. Okay, so now say it's uncertain. Like it's 50-50. There's a chance he comes back, chance he won't come back.
For 2 first round picks, I see I I I wouldn't do it because of my own personal bias, but I know just about every organization would, because why would you give up such great return just because of your own personal love? And while I think Belichick will turn it around next year, realistically, the Patriots probably aren't winning the Super Bowl next year. You might as well reload. You're going to have to start over sooner rather than later eventually. So yeah, I know any organization would say yes. I'm going to say no, but I know the answer for everyone is yes. I'm saying no because I'm an idiot. But
Okay, so I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. I would do it because
yeah,
you need something. You need something to get you to get fans excited. And obviously, Bill going out the door would suck, and I understand that. Like it would suck. But honestly, if it means you get a quarterback and then you get maybe like a stud lineman, or if there's a good receiver or something out there that you can take, I mean, why not? That's the quickest way to, get some talent in here. And then you have all that money in free agency and you have the next guy in waiting. It looks like Gerard Mayo could be the next guy. So considering you have all that, it's kind of compelling to make the deal.
yeah, and that's why I said I don't think anyone in their right mind would say no. I'm not in my right mind, so I am saying no. But yeah, it's just a no brainer. I think you probably get more than two first, but even just with two first, yeah, it makes too much sense. Just as a good basis, you're basically getting two first round picks for a rebuild that you're going to have to do regardless, because one day Belichick is going to retire, and it's going to be devastating, and I'm probably going to be weeping in the street like those Koreans when Kim Jong Un died, where they just couldn't cry enough, and that's going to be me when Belichick retires. But if without the trade, like if somebody was like, "Oh, when Bill Belichick retires, the league is going to give the Patriots two first round picks to rebuild," you'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" So it's like, yeah, so
Right.
let's expedite the process. If it means him going to the Chargers, yeah, we're gonna have to start over eventually. Like you said, Gerard Mayo steps in. We still get to keep a little semblance of the Patriots culture, and he was still around during the dynasty. I think it's the most enticing offer you can make, knowing that the inevitable is coming.
Sad to think that the inevitable is coming, right?
Yeah, it cushions the blow because he is going to retire. I don't think it's soon. I don't think it's in the next 2 years. It might not even be in the next three. But that's also my fandom talk.
Sure. So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you this real quick, and then we'll talk about the draft real quick. Then we'll talk about the Broncos game. Then we'll get out of here. We said 40. We're going way over 40, but hey, it is what it is.
Such is life.
Yeah, such is life. Um, I'm just thinking about that Bill Belichick trade now. I'm thinking Belichick walking out the door, and I'm just be like,
It would hurt.
damn.
It would be tough. It'd be like, I met your dad. He's a stud. Imagine if he went out for a pack of cigarettes and never came back. That would hurt.
Wow, that's really sad. Right
Yeah,
before Christmas
isn't it?
too.
Yeah,
Right
because
before Christmas.
yeah, it would be very untimely. And luckily, if Bill Belichick were to walk away, it would probably be, you know, around February. There's not a whole lot going on. You can really process how fucking sad that is.
Right. So Gerard Mayo looks like he could be the next head coach. There was another report that said that Gerard Mayo has supposedly rubbed some people off the wrong way because maybe he knows that he's next in command. Do you buy that at all? I don't think there's
No,
any validity to that.
I don't know why that would be the case. He's been in the organization for so long. How could anyone not kind of assume this is coming? Where hey, once Bill leaves, it's either going to be his son or it's going to be a former player. Like we kind of know how the Patriots roll. They usually like to keep it in house, and even more so. I don't know why Gerard Mayo would have some sort of an ego or act a certain way. He was never a star on this team, never got star treatment, never got any huge recognition from the media. I don't know why he would all of a sudden be what he the assistant coach now.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, so
one of the top assistants. Yeah.
yes, and then he used to be the linebackers coach, and he helped out the
Yeah.
defense and stuff like
He's the
that.
de facto defensive coordinator. That's what he is.
Yeah, but there's no reason for me to think that he would have done that. Most of that stuff just seems like, oh, like it's a slow Tuesday. Maybe Gerard Mayo's an asshole. Click, click, click.
Right. I listen, I don't buy it either. I really don't. I think it's just they need storylines. And I understand that. If Gerard Mayo was the head coach, I think a lot of people would be happy about that.
Hmm. I think so too. I think you can find any excuse for anyone, being a bad fit. Like I'm sure,
Yes.
Andy people could say Andy Reid rubs his players the wrong way. Like, yeah, I'm sure not everyone's gotten along perfectly with Andy Reid, but the vast majority of them like him. And I would say it's probably the same for Gerard Mayo. Well, maybe he's not loved by everyone, but no one's loved by everyone
Right.
except
Exactly. Except who?
me.
Anyways, drafting situation. Patriots are still at 2. Do you still have a strong preference for someone one way or the other? Or are you still kind of whatever for right now?
Marvin or nothing for me, man. And if he doesn't commit to the draft, which it seems like he has all the reason in the world not to come out this year,
I know.
I'm truly lost. Like I'm Marvin or bust. You've seen Draft Day, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, what was the card that said who was the linebacker?
What was it? Vontae Mack or
Vontae
bust?
Mack or bust. Yeah, that's me. Like Marvin Harrison or bust, baby. Nothing but go for Marvin the entire time.
See, I want Marvin too, but if he doesn't declare, I mean, he can go back to Ohio State for his senior year. He can try to beat Michigan. Apparently, he's going to get an NIL deal in like the 15 to $20 million range.
Yeah,
So, like, why
which is
wouldn't you
absurd.
stay?
Yeah, and that's why it just seems unlikely that he would. And I had like a little like I guess like a delusion, I guess, with my buddy. Me and him we're smoking a joint, we're talking shit, talking about the Patriots, and he's like, let me paint you a word picture here. Marvin Harrison declares this year the Patriots take him with whatever pick they get. They get Marvin Harrison. Next
Mhm.
year, Arch Manning starts for Texas, kills it, falls out, goes into the draft. The Patriots get him. Now they have Arch Manning, Marvin Harrison, two staples and sons of the former Colts dynasty, now playing for the Patriots. All Patriots fandom is tipped on their head because everyone in New England hates the Mannings across the board. There's not a good Manning in New England, and Marvin Harrison smoked us for years and years and years, and now we have to love him.
Wouldn't Arch Manning, isn't he going into his sophomore year?
Yeah,
You can't get drafted until your junior year, right?
I thought that changed that 2 years ago.
No, I think it's still junior year. You might want to check that, but
Oh, really? Well, then 2 years. Either way, it's a fantasy. It's a delusion. We certainly weren't in a clear headspace when we thought of that. But
fair enough. But yeah, for me, it's Marvin Harrison, or if you're gonna go with the quarterback, I would even go Jaden Daniels. I'll tell you what. I mean,
yeah,
he won the Heisman for a reason. The dual threat quarterback intrigues me. Drake May playing at North Carolina, that
the
the
dual threat
ACC,
intrigues you because it's different because we've never
it,
had
it
it.
does,
That's why.
but he has an arm and he can actually move around the
Dual
pocket.
threats don't win Super Bowls.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he can actually bring some excitement. Like,
Certainly. Do you want
would you
excitement or do you
rather,
want Super Bowls?
I mean, I want contention first before we talk Super Bowl, because you can't get to the Super Bowl without being contender first. Right now, the Patriots are about 45 players away from being a contending Super
Certainly.
Bowl team. So
Yeah.
that's
But
why
if you get a
I'm
rushing quarterback, you almost guarantee that you're never going to win a Super Bowl under.
you never know. But don't forget, Jaden Daniels can throw too. He
He
can
can.
throw the ball.
He can. But look at the Super Bowl winners. Michael Vick never won a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's not going to win a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts was as close as it gets.
But you also understand too that there's no true like pocket passing quarterbacks anymore. All these quarterbacks can
Joe
scramble
Burrow.
a little bit. Joe, I'm talking that are coming into the draft and everything too. And even Joe Burrow can extend plays a little bit.
Penix can't run.
I thought he could scramble a little bit for Washington. No,
Like he is a former basketball player. Yeah, he can move in the pocket, but Tom Brady can move in the pocket. Mac Jones can move in the pocket. Like Patrick Mahomes can scramble for a first down. I'm talking like scramblers, like Jaden Daniels scrambler.
okay. All right. So listen, we'll see. I mean, they're going to take one of the three quarterbacks. You're going to have to accept it because all three of them can throw and all three of them can run. So
Yeah.
you're going to get a dual threat in some way, shape, or form. But all right, last topic of the night. Patriots taking on the Broncos Christmas Eve. Do we think the Patriots have a chance to win this game? First of all,
Yeah, yeah, I do. The Broncos are on a downhill slope, and it sounds really stupid. Like they're either going to win or they're going to lose. But like the Broncos are either going to come in this game and continue to play shitty like they have in the last like 3 games, or they're going to be furious that they've taken this fucking landslide and they're going to come out and kick the Patriots' ass. So it's either going to be a dick kicking or the Patriots are going to win. And I see like no in between here.
So here's what I think. I think truthfully, I think the best situation for the Patriots and their fans, lose to Denver on Christmas Eve,
Yeah,
lose to the Bills on New Year's Eve to get to 3
yeah.
and 13, be at solidified in that number 2 spot no matter what, and then beat the Jets in week 18. I think that's a perfect ending to the season. End the season on a high note. You're solidified in that top 3, even that top 2. I think that's perfect.
Even if Aaron Rodgers comes back in week 18, which it seems like he wants to do.
Even if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And guess what? If Aaron Rodgers comes back and the Panthers win a game and you get the strength of schedule, then you move up to 1. That's even better.
Yeah. I guess there's no real downside there, but you're just hoping they lose. Like thinking realistically, no team is trying to lose. So if we're talking 4 games left, right? 4 games.
3 games left.
3. I guess I want to say the odds are they'll win one, but we're really bad. So maybe I'm wrong. But like
I
I
think
can't help but think they win one of them, especially with the way they're kind of on an upswing.
I can't see them. I can't see them beating Buffalo in Buffalo because I think Buffalo's starting to play better now.
Yeah, they are.
I don't think they beat Denver because Denver, they picked it up in the second half of the season. I know they played bad this past week, but for the most part, they've been picking up in the second half. Russell Wilson actually looks decent. They have a decent running game. They have a couple of receivers that can hurt you with Sutton and Judy. And the Patriots, what's the one place even during the Brady years they had trouble playing was Denver. They
Yeah.
always had trouble with Denver.
Yeah.
So in Denver, anyways, in Denver. So it's like Miami, but not as bad as Miami. Like if I had to rank like the worst places for the Patriots to play, it's Miami 1, Denver 2.
Yeah, I mean Miami is a given. They chalk that up as a loss every year. It's scary accurate.
Exactly. So that's the part that hurts me. Let's do, I know we usually don't do this, but since Mike's not here, I'm taking control of this. So sorry, not sorry. Let's do a little score prediction. I actually was very, very close last week. I said 27-13 Chiefs, and I was almost right on.
Yeah, that is scary. Damn, that's what you said. Motherfucker, that is good. I said 19-13 Pats. So I was a little off there. Score prediction for this one. I am going to say something super generic. 31-17 Broncos.
I am going 21-13 Broncos.
Ooh,
I think it's going to be
wow.
close, but I think Bailey Zappi is going to struggle in Denver, and I think Denver finds a way to get the win. And Patriots fans will get a weird reverse Christmas present, and they'll be 3-12, and then go into the Buffalo game. You hope you lose that one, then you solidify at least a top 3 pick in the draft.
No more than 13 points, huh? Cold.
I mean, listen, they got lucky that they scored 17. If it wasn't for another Patrick Mahomes interception, they wouldn't have scored that 3rd touchdown.
And I guess we can
Or second touchdown,
Yeah.
3rd score of the game. But you know what I meant.
I guess we can assume that Hunter Henry scores the only touchdown of the game. That's the only safe bet.
I know. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You got anything else for this week, bud?
Call it a wrap, old sport.
We'll call it a wrap there. We'll see if we're back next week. I mean, it's Christmas week. It's going to be tough with all the moving parts.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe
see.
a little later than normal, but we'll try and get it in.
We'll try to get it in. Again, happy birthday, Mike. Hope you enjoy your 67th birthday on this fine December 18th.
Best believe.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for Liam. I'm your host for this week, Al. Hopefully the 3 of us will be back next week. Hopefully the Patriots are competitive, and the hashtag that I have that I'm saying to everybody is tank for 2.
Tank for 2, baby. Not
tank
entirely
for
in support.
2.
Go out there and beat the fucking Broncos. I don't care about draft
If you
position. Give me a win.
if you win, you had the Pittsburgh win. If you win, great. If not, it's better for the draft position.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
And as always, sweet.
Later.
Later.